Hey, it's the political brown kid here, and I'm back again. As we all know, that the news in regards to Joe Biden dropping out of the race, and just as I predicted, I just did a video on this earlier today that no one is going to run against Kamala Harris, and that is it's shaking out to be true as I continue to watch god awful CNN. I don't know why I watch CNN, but I do. CNN and MSNBC have my channel on both of those. They're saying the same thing. Now I'm hearing California Governor Gavin Newsom, who would have been a great choice to run. He's endorsing Kamala, and also Pete Buttigieg, who's also ran before. He's endorsing Kamala. So you know those two are not running. Once again, I told you, no one is going to run against her because she's a woman and she's a black woman. So I keep telling y'all this, the Democratic Party is all about feelings. They do things off of emotions and not off of mere rationality. Now, once again, she is the current sitting vice president, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're next in line. It should be a process. But if you take away the strong candidates, and Gavin Newsom is one, Pete Buttigieg could have been another one, but there's others out there, but no one's going to challenge her because they feel as though it would be crossing a black woman and the optics isn't good. And that's just how Democrats operate. Here's the issue too that I'm having when you look at this, and this is where I'm going, and you can see from the title of this video, which I'm going to, of where I'm going. So as I watch CNN and MSNBC, and I've been watching this for hours now, hours, literally, I have the television on it, and all of the people up here are saying the same things. They keep talking about women, 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 women. They keep talking about Kamala's going to protect women's rights, a woman's right to go out, have unprotected sex, let a guy skeet, skeet, skeet all up in her, and then just go pop a pill the next day and all's right with the world. That's all they care about. You don't hear anything about anyone saying men have been left out. Black men in particular have been left out. You don't hear any talks or conversations around other pertinent issues, such as violent crime that's going on nationally. You see all of these kids doing smash and grabs. I forget what they call them. You know, when you go into a store, when you kind of do a mob sprint into these stores. You just saw a Gucci store get broken into, all of these high-end stores getting mobbed by people and no one's doing anything about it. You don't hear them talking about the violent crimes that's going on. You see an uptick in a lot of violent crime that women are committing. And I'm not bashing up on women, but I'm just saying women used to be the moral compass of this country, or really you could say of the world. Women didn't act the way that you see women acting now. It's like women literally want to do everything that men do. And a lot of things that men do, we do kind of stupid stuff. I'm not going to lie. And so you see a lot of women. Look at the thing that just happened in Memphis with the woman down at Church's Chicken. And this woman, Monica Williams, she wants her case thrown out. But then this is happening all over with violent crimes and a significant uptick in women and violent crimes. But I'm just talking about violent crimes, period. You don't hear them talk about any issues like we need to get Kamala in because she's going to be good on violent crime. She's going to have a great immigration policy and not allow these illegal immigrants to continue to flow into this country. You're not hearing anything them praising her like, oh, inflation, she's going to be good on inflation, the national debt. You're not hearing them talking about, what her international policy, specifically as it pertains to war and us either intervening or not intervening, or us going and fighting. You're not hearing any of this. What is the policy on reparations? They talk all of this stuff about what she's going to do for women. What is she going to do for black people? Well, is she going to bring up reparations? Is she going to have a pillow talk with her white husband late at night and talk about, what she's going to do to rectify that? And then also, too, what about the tax structure? Like, how are you going to handle, and this kind of ties in with inflation and the national debt, but, people out here are struggling. Like I told y'all before, my salary is relatively, I make a pretty good living. I'm in probably the top 15% according to the world. I mean, according to American standards. But I don't feel as though I'm making good money, and I don't even have debt. I don't have the outside of paying your rent and or mortgage. I don't have anything. But when you're talking about going to the grocery store, buying 12 items and it totaling up to $180 something, that is a problem. And so I want to know what is her policy around that. But all CNN and MSNBC and it's just nothing but a bunch of panel of a bunch of women who are just voting from their heart. And this is how this is the difference between men and women. A man is going to vote and he's going to be on a panel talking about the strategic policy, the strategic perspective, of why, even if he's endorsing Kamala, he's speaking from it strategically. Women just want to get up here and just speak from their feelings. It's going to be the first woman, the first black woman, the first woman of color. I don't know what this woman of color, people keep throwing around this term, but she's a black woman. But, they keep talking about why they're going to endorse her because she's a woman and a black woman. And that's all they keep saying, or because she's going to give them birth control and allow it and get the government out of a woman's bedroom. And that's all they keep saying. But once again, they continue to neglect men. And this is how Donald Trump came to be. Because trust me, no one was thinking about poor whites in this country. That's why poor whites never voted. And once again, I keep telling y'all, there's only about 30 million black people in this country. Maybe 20 million are of voting age. 20 million blacks can probably vote. Let's just say it's even 30 million. You're still a minority. The Hispanic population is bigger than you, even though Hispanic is not a race, but you're either a white Hispanic or a black Hispanic. But we all know that Hispanics do not, even if they're black Hispanic, they don't identify as being black. Most of them do not. They identify as being Latina. And then you talk about the white population, there's 200 million white people here. So even if every black person voted, regardless, if white people decide to get behind Donald Trump, I don't care if every black person in America casts a vote for Kamala, she will never win if you don't get white people in the vote. And also, too, you keep losing men because they don't want to address men's issues. And I'm going to pivot back to my Donald Trump example because I kind of digressed from that, or I did digress from that, is that those white people stopped voting. It wasn't that, all of these elections have been close because the whites that are in the Appalachians and like the Rust Belt areas and in, places like West Virginia, and just kind of poor white individuals, they just did not vote because they did not see them being represented in platforms and agendas. They did not hear their agendas that they cared about talked about. And Donald Trump came in 2016 and he bluntly talked about those issues. He talked about, and that's why do you think he keeps repeating they're bringing crime, they're doing, they're forcing themselves upon women, they're committing, violent crimes. Why do you think he keeps repeating this? Because he knows that that's what those individuals want to hear. He keeps talking about drilling for oil and doing stuff in specific areas because he knows that those are the jobs that those individuals relied on. So therefore, that's why they have come out, because they heard somebody speak to them. I'm not saying it's good, bad, right, or wrong. What I'm saying is they heard themselves represented. What you're starting to see now within the Democratic area is you're starting to see a lot of black males really check out of the Democratic Party. I can't speak for white males. I can't really speak for them, but I know I can speak for black males. They're checking out because, number one, all you hear is women talking about the misogyny, the patriarchy, and all these buzzwords. And black men are like, when did we become a part of the patriarchy and the misogyny? You may can talk that in your particular household from a domestic perspective, but when has a black man ever denied anyone a job? In fact, we're the ones being denied jobs because they promote black women over black men because black women are easier to get along with or control. They feel more threatened being, having a black man being their peer because they feel as though he's going to take over. Whereas a black woman is going to come in and she's going to follow the lead of the white man that's in charge or the white woman that's in charge. And everybody knows, that testosterone energy, women sometimes feel intimidated by that. So they would rather say, okay, let me promote the black woman. I can kill two minority categories with one stone. And so they promote a black woman up. So, and then black women don't have black men's backs. They always want us to support them. You hear the WNBA crying all the time, we don't get supported. And that's BS because Adam Silver of the National Basketball Association, the men's league, they supplement the women's league. And you see a lot of players like Steph Curry, LeBron James, and you can go on to even other less prominent NBA players supporting the women's league. But yet, you continually hear these women talk about, we don't get supported. Well, how come y'all aren't pointing that finger at women? So, because the men are supporting you. So I continually say this is that in politics, you look at it when you turn on MSNBC and when you turn on CNN, all you hear them talking about is women, 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 reproductive rights, reproductive rights, reproductive rights. They just keep hammering that point, but yet they don't care that immigrants are coming over and those individuals are competing for jobs with black individuals. Because once again, let's just make it clear. In general, some of us may be doing relatively well in our careers, and I think I'm doing relatively well in mine, but as a whole, we know that there are black people that are doing, we're at the bottom economically and professionally, and we're competing with those immigrants that come here. They're going to do the construction jobs, the landscaping jobs. They're going to do the house cleaning jobs. They're going to do the entry-level office jobs, and we have to compete with those individuals. And we know white people can be biased, have bias, and be selective when they start hiring people. And who do they think they're going to hire? They're going to hire the Latino because then it's like, oh, this is the new affirmative action people, the Latinos, give them jobs. So we're competing with them. So that's why I'm saying, when did you hear the Democrats talk about protecting men? When did you hear them ever acknowledge that men are being treated and left behind? You do not hear that. I can name a lot of issues that men are left behind on. Divorce being one, the inequality in sentencings for violent crimes. Women get far less time for violent crimes, or sometimes they even get acquitted. Look at Casey, what was her name? Casey Anthony or whatever, the woman that allegedly got rid of her daughter, took her daughter out down in Florida, and she's partying, living her best life. There's a lot of women. There was a woman that she was an American woman. I think they went over to some Dutch country, I don't know where, and they her and her boyfriend offed her mother. And then because she was pregnant, they gave her a light sentence. The guy did more time than her, and she orchestrated the whole thing. Women get far less time for crimes. We know this. Women are treated a lot better than men, but they never talk about the man's struggle in this country. And so what's going to happen is this. This is why you're going to see somebody like Donald Trump get elected. I'm not saying he's going to get elected this time, and maybe he is. And it's going to be because men can identify and at least he has the guts to say things that you don't hear come out of Democrats' mouths. At least he'll speak to things like immigration or inflation. Only thing you hear Democrats talking about is, I want to write off student loans for people who voluntarily took out a student loan and now they decide that they can't afford to pay it back. Well, that's life. That is life. No one forced you to go to the school that you chose. You could have gone to community college. You could have gotten a certificate in cybersecurity or in any other field, but you chose to take out these loans, and then they want everything written off. All you're going to hear Democrats do is speak to student loans. They want free housing. All they're going to do is talk about giving you free stuff. They just gave away stimulus checks. I know somebody that just got $5,000 put into their bank account. This person that I'm talking about doesn't even have a job and doesn't even pay taxes. Yet here I am paying, I think I paid 30 something, maybe 40 something $1,000 in taxes, and I still owed, and they didn't cut me a check. I didn't get cut a check at all. So the thing about it is, like, why is this person who doesn't even have a job getting a stimulus check of $5,000, but yet the government keeps telling me, oh, you make too much money to claim your kids. You make too much money to write off their education debt. But yet they're writing off everybody else's education. They're paying everybody else's education debt, but I can't use my education debt for my kids as a tax write-off because I make too much money. Yet I don't. I'm not a Silicon Valley $400,000 a year type of salary. I'm not that high. But yet I make too much money, but yet I'm still struggling just like every other a person. But yet they do not speak to me, and that's everybody's issue. But I'm just saying they don't speak to the issues. The only thing I'm hearing on this television is Kamala should be elected because she's a woman and because she's black and because she's a black woman. That's all I keep hearing. I have not heard anything about any of the issues that I put on the table. I haven't heard anything about what she's done for the past 4 years on violent crime, what she's done on immigration, what they've done on inflation, national debt, war, reparations, taxes. I don't know what her positions are, but we're so willing to just crown this woman. And these are how, whether it's going to be in 2024 or 2028, when you continue to neglect the men's issues, and I'm not going to go into men's issues now, but if any of you are online and looking on YouTube, if you're on TikTok, Twitter, you see how women continue to bash men and women continue to call men dusty, dirty. They don't want to deal with you, and they don't consider this to be a crisis for men. You keep hearing idiots like Bill Maher talk about men need to do better. The reason why you can't get a date is because you're a loser. And they keep saying all of this, but they don't hold women accountable for any of their actions. Everything is just put on to the man. They do not address any men's issues. They want to give a woman the right to choose, right? They want to say, well, it's her body, her choice. But if she chooses to have the child, well, what about a man's right to choose not to help raise the child? And I'm not trying to advocate for that. I'm not going to play devil's advocate. I raise my kids, but what if a man says, let's talk about it? I don't want you to have a kid. And she chooses to have the child. Is it not his choice to not participate, or does he have to be forced to participate? What about these divorce laws that are here? What about women that just filed no-fault divorce based on irreconcilable differences? They walk away from marriages, but yet they think they're entitled to half of a man's retirement savings, his 401k, his IRA, his SEP. They want to drain everything from a man. They don't talk about any of these issues. Everything is about a man is bad, a woman is good, and what you're going to find is that the men are going to start leaving the Democratic Party because the only thing they want to do is pander to specific groups. And right now we're in the age of feminism. And I'm pretty sure the next age we'll be in is probably the age of the LGBT, the rainbow age. I don't know, where everything's just going to be geared towards. We're already there with that anyway, but I guess they're going to be pushing for a gay president next, or lesbian, or whatever, queer, whatever president you want to call it. Then we'll be in the age of disabled people, where they're going to want a deaf, blind president. It's getting pretty sad. And then men are saying, well, what about me? Well, when is anybody going to speak to my concerns? But we can't bring up our concerns. You know why? Because the moment a man says, I have concerns about the way I'm treated, they're labeled as a misogynist. They're labeled as as toxic masculinity, and you get all of these negative labels added to them. And then what you're going to find is you're going to find Donald Trump 2.0, whether that's J.D. Vance when it's his turn, or it's going to be someone else that's going to speak directly to men, and it's going to speak directly to men's concerns, and the men are going to go there, and then the women are really going to have a hard time. And then they're going to wonder why we got to this point. Well, you got to this point because of days like this. Which day is this? July 21st, 2024. When people just want to anoint someone just because of their gender and or race. So this is the Political Brown Kid. I'm going to end it here. Drop your comments in the comment section. Hit the like and subscribe. I'm out of here.